So what I like to do is go over setting up a development environment for Magento 2 with Docker. So we'll be using my base GitHub repo here. It's Mark O. Schust / Docker Magento. And this contains all of the Docker Compose setup, all of the images, and some other helper scripts here. So what we'll do is scroll down to this automated one-line setup. So this is what we're going to be using. You want to copy this line to the clipboard, and then you want to actually go in terminal here. And what we'll do, I usually put all of my sites within a sites directory, and we'll make a new directory for our project. So we'll call this one M226, and then we'll go into it. And what we'll do is paste this line here that we copied, and this bash script will accept two parameters. One will be the domain name we want to use locally, and the other one will be the version of Magento we want to install. So in this case, we're going to call this m226.test. And you want to use a test TLD for a lot of different reasons. But you could use a .com or whatever else you want. And we will install 2.2.6. So all we have to do is hit enter. And what this will do is download a template we can work off of. Actually, this is downloading the entire Magento repo. Now, if you're prompted here to enter your password, you want to enter your system MAC password. That's so it can write a DNS entry into Etsy/host. So here we go. So you want to enter your system password here. And it'll just continue on. So what this is doing is it's creating the Docker containers automatically for you. It's downloaded a version of Magento 226. It's linking the host file system with your container file system, and it goes right into the Magento installation. So it's already installing Magento at this point. So we'll wait for it to finish. If it takes a little longer, it might be downloading things from Composer and caching it. So the first time you run it, it may take a little longer. But everything's very by the book and using all of the base Magento scripts. So right when this is done, so here it already installed. Now it's correcting the file system permissions. So sometimes this takes a few minutes. So while that is happening, what we're going to do is go over to this repo, and I'll explain a little bit to you of what's actually going on here. So you can also copy and paste and work with all of these scripts individually, so you don't have to use the one-line script if you don't want. All that one-line script is doing is running these commands, really. And when we go in here, this repo has a ton of custom CLI commands. So I made this repo setup so if you don't know much about Docker, you can get up and running really, really quickly without too much hassle. So you don't have to know how to start containers, stop containers, go into them, none of that. All you have to do is look up the helper script. So it's like start the containers. All you run is bin/start, and then same thing with bin/stop. That'll start and stop the containers for you, and bin/removal, remove them. There's also helpers in here for bin/Magento. So what this does is this gets routed into the PHP container of Docker that it sets up, and it links it to the bin/Magento within the Docker container. But you don't even need to know that. You just need to know bin/Magento. And there's other helper scripts here for grunt and downloading versions of Magento and all that, and even enabling Xdebug. So let's go back to our terminal here. It should be almost done. So yeah, it's very neat. You don't, now if you did want to override some of this info, what you can do is in the files that it downloads, here's where all the helper scripts are. There's a bin/setup, and this is what it's running. Now by default, it's going to use all of these params. So you can override these and change these to whatever you want after you download the template. So what it's doing, it's that parameter we passed in, it's just replacing it with this base URL here. But you can set your first name, last name, email, user, password. But here's all of the default default settings and info it's going to use for setting up Magento. Okay, let's toggle back here because the permissions just finished correcting, and it's turning on developer mode by default. And then always after you install Magento, it tells you that the indexers are all invalid and cache is invalid. So it just rebuilds everything, and there it's installed. So what we have to do, all we have to do now is go to our browser and type in m226.test. And what this is going to do is it's actually getting the files, and the whole file system is being served up from our Docker containers. And by default, it'll load an SSL cert. It's a self-signed cert, so you might have to approve it. But yeah, that was it. It's installed. So after the initial, JavaScript and everything downloads, that's it. It's all set up, and then you could access it just like any other Magento site. Now I only have 4 gigs of RAM allocated to Docker right now, so it doesn't even need a whole lot of RAM, and it should be quite responsive. You can see. You can get the admin URL. It's really right up here. And you can also get it from the bin/Magento command. So there we go. We're already in our Magento 2 install. And let's say we wanted to get the admin URI here. All you have to do is type that in, and we can see everything's working. And you could do other things like deploy the sample data. So that's the first thing. If you wanted to get a base install up and working quite quickly, I don't have my repo set up here. Maybe I can set it up. You just set up your auth.json file, and it should go ahead and install everything. Let me see if it's keeping me in a certain tab here. But yeah, it's going to just run the sample data deploy script here, and it'll install like usual. So I won't bore this out here, but yeah, that's the general gist of setting it up. I'll upload this video someplace so you can watch it later. But definitely check out the Docker Magento repo I have set up. And it'll give you a lot of other info of how to set up Xdebug in VS Code. So it has VS Code Xdebug support built in. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is enable Xdebug in the container, which is just bin/Xdebug enable. And then there's also scripts here, or information for setting all of this up within PHP Storm. If you did want to follow any of my other casts, you can go to markschuse.com, and there's a subscribe button here. I'll log out so you can see it. You could subscribe to my newsletter and get updates on Magento, LAMP stuff. I do a lot of Node.js work. So yeah, just subscribe and you can stay up to date with everything I do. All right, take it easy. Bye-bye.